Hi, I'm Kirk Shippos, and I am going to show you my animation short that I made. This is the long time-lapse version. It is a little long. It's about 15 minutes long, and it shows everything that I did. So I'm actually learning. I had never used Procreate before. I had just learned Sketchbook. A friend told me that I could use it for animation, and animation is something that I've always wanted to do. I'm enrolled for 3D animation, so this made sense. I do know art stuff, and I love trying to learn. So I just thought this was a great opportunity for me to push myself and learn something new. So this is my very first animation. So I'll just kind of talk as we go through. But it kind of starts off, just trying to feel it out. I had watched 2 quick videos learning just on how it works as far as an onion goes. So as you see, there's shells or little people. And those are considered onions, onion layers. And I can use those to see what the path was and where I wanted to go as far as how I'm going to redraw my character. Every frame, you do have to redraw a character and change little things here and there. Now, this story that I came up with wasn't really thought of. It more of just happened as I made it. I didn't really know what to do. I thought I wanted to be basic and start with a stick figure. So it started off with me drawing a guy, and he was just sitting there being sad. So then my head started thinking, well, what do I do? Why is this guy sad? And then I started trying to think, well, how would I make this interesting? How can I bring life into this film, right? One way that I would like to do it would be to use different camera angles and perspectives. Now, those seem like they'd be a little bit more advanced. Again, I'm just learning. The only videos I saw was one on just how to layer, and the other one was a little bit more in depth. But really the most I took out of it was the layering aspect, which I'm semi-familiar with, but there was a learning curve indeed. So at this point, I've figured out my storyline. I had this person that was sad. And I said, all right, I'm going to bring somebody in, and I kind of made it fun. As perspectively speaking, I brought them in from a little further away, and now they've come down, and the person just decided to come over and kiss the other person to try to make them happy. Now, this was my opportunity to, at this point, start building the scenery. As you see, I've already made the clouds. Procreate has amazing brushes. They have a cloud brush. And if you layer it right, it comes out fantastic. Now, mind you, I was just messing around. This is all just trial and error stuff. If you saw earlier, I brought out a couple brushes, and this was one that kind of looked like I could use it. So I started with a kind of a pattern on the hill, and sometimes you just kind of have to go for it to see if it's actually going to look right. Because obviously, it doesn't look right at first. But the more you do something and the more you layer it and the more you kind of think big picture, the more you can actually get out of it. It's almost like they say, fake it. You just have to kind of go with it, see what it evolves to. More times than not, you're going to run with it and it's going to be better than it was. Very rarely are you going to turn back around and try to redo it. So I say I'm carving into the hill here. So now at this point, I'm getting this shape. I'm thinking this looks really cool. It reminds me like Scotland. I got some clouds up there. They got my people down there. It started just basically clicking around. There's a whole lot of tapping with my pencil on the iPad right now. And in my head, I'm thinking, all right, well, once this is in, what other colors am I going to bring in now? Right? Still need more. So you can see down here at the bottom, I'm trying to figure out different brushes, and what looks good. I'm like, maybe there should be a foreground. So I bring out this brush, and I find this new brush. I'm like, oh, this thing's neat. How can I use this? So I'm testing out different sizes. That looks weird to me. It doesn't look right. So I end up kind of using this other one, and just sizing it out a little differently. And I was pretty happy with it. I probably could have done more, but for the artistic side of what this video is, it kind of fits. Right now I'm doing the clouds. I actually just added some colors to the clouds. I did a lot of between yellow, orange, and red, and different opacities to kind of give that some color. It looks like there's a sunset. I think I throw some white on top of them too, I believe. Right now I'm doing the grass, trying to bring some color. So I chose a little bit darker shade of green to try to integrate in with it. And then I found this other brush that kind of looked like I could use it for flowers. So to me, I thought dandelions. And so I started just kind of spotting little bits of dandelions all over the hills. And in the back, I kind of shrank the brush and put it down. This is where I started playing with colors, because I was trying to figure out, I guess I had a lot of issues. There was a big learning curve. You can't I was having trouble filling the colors of the people in. Like I couldn't do a fill with a paint bucket. I don't know if that happens quite yet, but I get these guys. I'm like, oh, they're balloons now. Like I didn't see the balloons at first, but once I colored them, they looked like balloons. So then immediately I knew what I was going to do. I was like, the guy's got to fly. He's gonna do what he's gonna do. He's gonna fly away. So this is where a lot of interesting things happen on the screen. This is me trying to figure out what this movement is, and I think I was actually trying to get the colors to work correctly, because every time I'd move him, I wanted to color him in, and I was having an issue with, I guess, how the onion layers look. I don't know. I couldn't really see my old one. Once I painted them, I couldn't see where my old layers very well, so it kind of got challenging, actually. But I was able to kind of figure out a system with it. This is a lot of just me playing around with settings. I don't know what I'm doing on half this. I'm just kind of testing everything as I go. That's why the screen's constantly flashing. This is where the true animation starts. So this is kind of me trying to learn, like the bits and pieces of trying to move two objects at a time. Now this process is you kind of redraw where you want where you want your next object to be, and then you have to erase where it was, right? And make it look how you want it to look. You can press the play button and kind of work through this, which is kind of neat, super helpful. And it's interesting because as I do this, if you notice, you do a lot of things and then you kind of have to go back. Right, it's you don't have to get every frame perfect. Like if I'm doing the balloon flying out, like right now I'm not worried about the background. Right, it's gonna smear. Like all I'm worried about is the balloon, right, and what the look of the scene. Right now, eventually I know I'm gonna go back and try to figure that out in my head. At this point, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be a lot of work. I have to redo this. So I'm trying to fill the clouds in right now. And so I'm redoing the clouds up top in the right top corner, just to see how this is, if it's working. And I see a difference, right? And this is me pressing the play button right now. And you can see it moving. And that's not good. You want it clean. So I spent a lot of time here trying to figure out this system. So this is me copying, pasting. So I'm taking a frame where the balloon isn't, copying it over. And then as the balloon moves, I'm deleting. I combine those layers, right? So I take a picture of one that is good, and I put it over the picture that's bad, and then I delete, the bad layer from it, and then you're left with a good layer. So you can kind of cheat what the people see, and it works. In the end, it kind of takes away all those all the movements for the most part. I still have some movements on the screen. There's some discolorations in the black, which I still don't know how to get rid of. But it's a learning process, you know. At this point, I had been playing with color, and I think, where are we at here? Okay, so this is, I think right now I was playing with frames per second. I was trying to increase the frames per second, trying to get a different look. I think I was trying to drop it down. I was just seeing what it was capable of. And then I realized that, you know, that my guy kind of looked a little less, so that was me just copy and paste him again. And then once I made it, I said, all right, this is writing a title. It only made sense that it'd be a bad day, you know, the guy's trying to come help him, you know, he's trying to make them all good, and then, you know, he tries to do something nice. Originally, I was going to have him hug him, but I figured, too, a stick figure hugging another stick figure was going to look kind of interesting. I don't think I was going to get the message across. So here's the full video. So that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave any comments, any feedback. I really appreciate your time. Thank you again.